Dark Knights of Steel Allwinter, issue 4, J. KRISTOFF and TIRSO Cons with him on the art. So this was originally out last week physically, but for whatever reason was delayed a week digitally, which is why we're talking about it today. So this was very good. I've been enjoying this book, and there was more good stuff.
Was not expecting King Maxwell the First of Clan Lord. So that was cool.
I wasn't expecting that. So that's the king that used to rule over this part of the world before the Allwinter. But the bigger reveal, though, is that the Allwinter is caused by a Victor, as in a Victor Freeze.
Yes.
And you hear that and go, wait a minute, Victor Freeze caused the Allwinter? Oh, that just makes sense. Why did I not see that coming? But yeah, that's where we get to in this issue.
Yeah. He was the court magician for Maxwell the First, and he had his beloved Nora, who he ended up seeing the king fooling around with. And he decided to take his vengeance upon everybody, which again, very, very Victor Freeze thing to
he
do.
went full apocalypse, and froze everyone. All this, these undead frozen zombies are coming back. That's how we start the issue. We got Batman with Deathstroke and the kids fighting them, and they kind of point out here that because they're getting further and further to the center, the epicenter of the Allwinter, it's further and further away from sunlight. So Batman's Kryptonian powers are fading. He's becoming a bit of a liability as he's asking questions, and we're getting some of this backstory, and we get the Victor Freeze stuff. So we get all that sort of explained out, and Batman's trying to be a hero. Young Alec's like, hey, there can still be heroes. He is one, because I think Batman says something, and Deathstroke's like, oh, this one thinks he's a hero, and Alex says he is a hero, and we see that the next time they get confronted by more of these like frost zombies, which is what I'm calling them for lack of a better term. Batman actually gets pretty badly beat up here, where he almost gets his throat slit or partially slit, and Deathstroke has to come in and save him. And at this point, Deathstroke's like, hey, you're becoming a liability. You should turn back and go back towards the sun, because I have to protect the kid, and I can't do that if I'm protecting you too. So Batman agrees to leave. Alex says there's no shame in turning back this far because you've already helped so much. So they wave goodbye. We'll see Batman in the sequel of Allwinter, or not Allwinter, of Dark Knights of Steel.
Yeah, I would love to see Deathstroke show up and help Bruce out when he needs him.
I could see that happening.
This is my friend. Also, you called them the frost zombies. The proper term from Norse mythology is Draugr. So...
of course I didn't know that, Matt.
That comes up. They call it in here when we see Freeze finally. He says send more Draugr at them.
Do you know how many new characters and concepts were introduced in the 7 issues I read back to back before I fell asleep last night? There is not a chance I was going to remember that word.
Now you know.
No, I don't. I'm going to forget this the second we're done talking about it.
Do. Just like Solomon Grundy is a revenant. So, we'll get there later.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to Grundy a bit later. Grundy's in here too. But yeah, again, heart to heart with Deathstroke and Alec, where he's talking about more of the past, and it's actually Alec explaining how he became what he is, and how he was living on his own on an island, but then the ships came and started massacring his people, and he ran off to this place that was forbidden because it was supposed to be cursed, because they were scared of what was there. But it turns out the curse was actually not a bad thing. It was it was the tree that spoke to him and sort of told Alec that he would bring the world back. It was a guardian, a protector. So that kind of sets up where he got his powers. That he was in this cold world with everyone else, and he became special. He wasn't born that way. So yeah, it's interesting setting some of this stuff up and getting the backstory of both how things went bad and how Alec became the new Swamp Thing, effectively, if that's even what we're going to be calling him. But just as they're having this heart to heart, and Slade actually gets a little bit pissy with him, because he sort of brings up his kids and says, hey, it's not your fault what happened to your children. Slade grabs him and gets all what do you don't know anything about me, you are this green tree bastard thing. And that's when, of course, Rose shows up and impales him with a spear, and it seems like, oh no, this isn't going to go well. And Slade is thrown out of a window, seemingly to his death. I'm sure he's not dead, but anyone else would be dead. It's very almost universal monsters here, because you've got lightning striking in black and white as he's falling next to like a big lighthouse style building. Very, very good. The end of the issue though is the main like henchman for the Emperor, Solemn Grundy, telling, hey sir, that boy and Deathstroke are out there, and Deathstroke seemingly is falling, but probably not dead. Should I go out and end him? Should we take out the troops? And then he's answered by the Emperor, who is Mr. Freeze. He says, let him freeze, which is probably going to be Mr. Freeze's undoing, that he just assumes that the cold will take him, because it won't. But yeah, that's the big reveal, is that the Emperor, the center of all this Allwinter, is actually still Mr. Freeze. He's not just behind the start of it, he's actively in charge.
Yep.
So there you go. That's and this is the city that they have to get to for Alec to rebirth the world, which is probably how it's going to end. But we got 2 whole issues left to get to that point.
Well, and the storm is raging so much harder. There's so much more lightning, and it looks like snow and all of that around the city. So it definitely adds a mood to Freeze. Yep. On top of it all, so
it's very good. Yeah, no, I dug all this. I have to confess something here. I forgot there was a backup on this.
Oh, did you not read it?
I forgot it was there. It wasn't by choice.
Yeah. So this is just following up on young Arthur freeing the lobsters, and word gets back to Atlantis that there's a child that can speak to fish, and so Pa Kent's not happy, and Arthur looks scared, but Martha, calms him down. And he's like, you have nothing to worry about. We're here to protect you. And turns out the Black Manta sent King Shark and a bunch of pirates after.
I'm kind of reading it as you're talking about it. I'm looking at the pages.
And so, Martha and Jonathan go to start doing their, what they used to do. They pick up swords and whatnot, and they're fighting the pirates. And they look up, and Gordon and Waller are there, just in the nick of time. But it looks like King Shark takes a piece out of Martha as he fights Gordon.
Possibly her arm. Maybe just her shoulder. Maybe a shoulder bite, or her arm's getting bitten off here. Yeah,
right. Which then Arthur sees, and he rushes to his mom's aid. And King Shark looks at him and calls him a false prince, and he's been sentenced to death for the crime of existing. And Arthur essentially uses his power and punches straight through King Shark, and says, no, I'll fight, because his dad told him to run. And that's where the issue ends. And FEDERICII drawing ocean monsters again. It feels right.
Oh yeah, his King Shark here looks fantastic. I'm into this. Aqualad here has just punched like a hole right into King Shark's heart. He's probably dead because of this. I had so many books. I forgot this had a backup. Yeah, I'm annoyed.
I just love just like what we get with some other Superman mythos, that the Jonathan doesn't want his son involved in any of this stuff, but a lot like Clark, this version of Arthur will not, because he's raised right. They raised him properly.
It's very different though, because unlike Superman, there's an entire civilization that's looking for Aquaman, that's looking for Arthur.
Right. And what does that change for him down the line later? Like to have people constantly gunning for you, because this won't be the last, I'm sure, of them showing up. But yeah, a lot of good stuff in that one. Again, I'm enjoying this medieval Justice League style.
Yeah, the lore building in Allwinter between the main story, the Mr. Freeze reveal this week, I thought was
so good.
Was a really inspired little choice. And then the backup here, like King Shark being involved is a lot of fun. The tease that Aquaman is effectively going to be this world's Superman in some ways, and at least in the way that he's raised, and how that maybe factors into some things is very interesting. So and obviously the art is gorgeous, particularly
FEDERICII.
I was going to say particularly the backup, but I don't really mean that, because the art in the main story is fantastic as well. What am I talking about?
That too. I thought you were talking about the backup, but yeah, I mean the art across the board, TIRSO cons with all the black and white, and like you said, it felt like a Universal monster movie there at the end with the lightning and the tower, and just it sets a whole mood.
I'm almost expecting a lynch mob to come for Alec Holland next issue, just based on that art.
Yeah, you got Killer Frost and Rose in there with him, and so I'm sure they're gonna bring him to freeze, right? Or are they bringing him to back to not Grundy, the other guy, Vandal Savage? You know, because that's what they were looking for. So, but yeah, and also, does this Alec ever, you know, because part of what happened with Swamp Thing is that he died, and that's how he ends up becoming the Swamp Thing. Like, is this Alec's destiny?
But that Alec, I mean, the list, like, there's some old stuff that I have not read, but I don't think Alec, before he became Swamp Thing, had any green powers, though. Like,
no,
the fact that the kid already has green powers suggests to me he doesn't have to die, but I mean, he could die and come back as Swamp Thing, that's possible. Or he could Hulk out into Swamp Thing, perhaps, in a big moment, either at the end of next issue or during the finale.
The fact that we're getting Grundy makes me think.
Yeah, Grundy's quite big. Need a big thing to fight Grundy.
Yeah, that's what made me think. So that's what I was trying to reconcile how we can get this kid Alec into a Swamp Thing. But for all we know, he can create his own version of Swamp Thing, right? Just like, you know, from whatever vegetation he can get his hands on here. So, but yeah, a lot of good stuff. Thoroughly enjoyed.
Yeah, what are you rating Dark Knights of Steel Allwinter issue 4?
This is an easy 9.
Oh, okay. I don't. I'll go 8.5. I'm not going to quite agree with the 9, but it's fantastic. I've been enjoying the book a lot.